Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making one of my personal favorite dishes, red beans and rice. And the ingredients we are going to need are red beans. I'm using small red beans, but red kidney beans work as well, and this is a 1-pound bag. And I've already gone ahead and soaked them overnight, as well as rinse them really well and pick through them to make sure there were no rocks or bad beans in our bag. For the vegetables, I'm using 3 ribs of celery, 1 large onion, and the equivalent of 1 bell pepper with a mix of red, yellow, and orange. And I used about 1/3 of each to equal that 1 large pepper. And I'm also throwing in 1 large diced up jalapeno. And you want to make sure your vegetables are diced very small for this, because we kind of want them to disappear in the dish through the cooking. I've also got 4 cloves of garlic that I've gone ahead and minced up. We're going to be needing some cayenne pepper, as well as I'm using Cajun dust on this occasion, but any Cajun seasoning mix will work. We're also going to need some salt and black pepper. And for our meats, I've got a little bit less than 1 pound of andouille sausage. It's very hard to find in my area, so when I do find it, I tend to grab it up. And on this occasion, I wasn't able to get the 1.5 pounds that I typically put in. So what I do is I'll substitute the rest of that with kielbasa. And if you can't find andouille, kielbasa sausage works just as well. And all you want to do is take your links and slice them in half, and then slice them in half again into nice little quarters. And you want to dice them about, I don't know, about 1 inch big. And then we're also going to need some ham, and I'm using ham that I canned up from a larger ham that I had. And if you had the ham bone, and we're just going to use it that way, throw in the ham bone as well as your ham and just let it cook like you would be doing soup, beans, and ham. But on this occasion I'm not. I'm just going to use about 3 cups of ham that I've already diced up, as well as the ham stock that I canned it in. And I'm also going to be using some ham hock stock that I made. You don't have to do this. You could actually substitute all this out for 1 ham hock and get the same flavors that I'm going to achieve by using this. And this is just my kielbasa that I'm going to be using. So I think that is all the ingredients. And we can go ahead and move over to the stove and go ahead and start getting our dish cooking. Alright guys, I have got you over at my stove, and I've already gone ahead and started warming up the kielbasa, and I'm just going to go ahead and start breaking this up into smaller pieces. We want to make sure we get it all broken up. If I was using kielbasa straight out of the package, I would have cut it up the same way I did the andouille and just let it cook down that way. But I'm using kielbasa that I had canned just for this recipe, and I like to do it that way because it adds a different flavor into the kielbasa. It's like it intensifies the flavor, but it's not very pretty to look at in the jar. And when I do can it, I tend to can it in little circles like this that I just break down in. It doesn't take any extra time really to get these broken down doing it that way. So while I'm doing that, I would like to talk a little bit about the Gamers and Geeks playlist that Japik and Death and I have going on our channels. It is a community-driven playlist that is made up of videos by you, our friends and YouTube family. If you would like to be a part of that, it's really simple. All you have to do is go out and make a cooking video and post it to your channel. And then once you've done that, let either Japik or I know in the comments section of our latest cooking videos. Or if you're a part of our Discord servers, you can let us know over there as well. You don't have to be a great cook. You just you know, go out there and have fun. And if there's a dish that you like to make a lot for your friends and family, then show us what it is. Let us see what you guys like to eat and make for your friends and family. Alright, so I think this is starting to look good and breaking down. And we kind of want some of this fat in it to start melting out of the kielbasa. I'm going to go ahead and add my andouille in now as well, because that's what we're going to cook our vegetables in. I'm not going to be adding any extra fat to this at all. Just the fat that's released from the meat. So I've gone ahead and let the meat cook for about 5 minutes, and I just went ahead and added in all my vegetables. And I just want these to start sweating down a little bit. But I'm not going to really be cooking them that much at this point. The majority of the cooking on the vegetables is going to be done once we have the beans and broth in here. So I'm just going to give this a few minutes once I get them all well incorporated in with the meat. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and add our garlic in. These have been cooking probably about 3-4 minutes. I haven't let them cook for very long. But we're going to go ahead and add our garlic in, as well as some black pepper. And again, I have a very heavy hand when it comes to black pepper because we like it. So you add the amount that you and your family like. I'm also going to do probably this whole what's left in my jar here. I'm looking for about a half of a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, which is exactly how much I had left. Very nice. You can adjust the temperature on that, use less or more. If you guys don't like it as spicy as we do, then certainly use less. Go ahead and stir that in. And I'm also going to add in, I'm going to start with about a tablespoon of my Cajun dust. And I can come back in and adjust that later if I think it needs more. Oh, it smells good already. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get our beans added in. And we can start adding in our ham and our broth. Alright, there we go. You may need to add just a tad bit of water just to cover this a little bit more. Yeah, I think I will. Go ahead and grab that. I'm just going to add in a little bit of water just to help boost that, or help that broth out and get this covered. Alright guys, all I need to do now is bring this up to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce it down to a simmer, cover it, and let it simmer all day or until the beans start getting soft. So I will see you guys when that happens. Alright guys, it's been about 2.5 hours since we started our beans, and at about the 1.5 hour mark I started coming in and checking the beans to see if they were getting tender. And as they did, what I started doing was mashing the beans up against the side of the pot, because that's what has been helping thicken our red beans up, because we don't want them soupy and brothy, although you could certainly serve them that way. I like mine kind of thicker. See, what I do is I just start coming in and moving the beans to the side of the pot and just start mashing them down. I don't want to go in and mash them all. I do want to leave some of them whole in here just for the texture, or you could totally mash them all if you wanted something extremely thick. Or again, like I said, you can not mash any of them and have more of a soup, red bean and rice than what we're making today. But at this point, it is done. I've gone ahead and checked it for the salt level, and I didn't have to add any at all. The meat was plenty salty enough to give this a really good flavor. I did go back in about halfway through and add another teaspoon of our Cajun seasoning, but that was just personal preference, as well as a tad bit more black pepper. But I think at this point, all we need to do is get it served up and give it a final taste and see what we think about it. So if you'll give me a few minutes, I will get this dished up and move you over to my other counter. Alright guys, here we go. Our red beans and rice are all dished up. And I just went ahead and added a nice little helping of rice right on top of our beans. And I like a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top of mine. That's totally optional. Green onions would work just as well, or nothing at all. So let's get in here and give it a little taste, see what we think about it. This is so good. It's so creamy from where we've mashed the beans against the side of the pot. And it's got just a very subtle heat to it. All the different meats in it really add to the flavor. And that smoked ham hock broth that I used really complements this dish very well. Not everything is all mashed down. I still have big chunks of meat in there, as well as some whole beans. But overall, this is an outstanding dish. Not one of my prettiest ones I've ever made, but the flavor it brings to the table is out of this world. Alright guys, leave me a comment down below if you like this video. If you guys try this one out, let me know how it turned out for you. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist, as well as my other cooking playlists, and I will leave links down in the description to them. But for now, thank you so very much for joining me today. I've been Vol Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.